Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to have Helen Knight on the program, the podcast, the YouTube channel, whatever it is. I'm really excited. I've been following Helen for a while, and she is such a giver. She is a designer. She's an entrepreneur. She's a business coach, and she's found her, I don't know, she's a kickboxer. She's found her place in the world. I just dropped my Wacom pin, so I need that to navigate. But I'm really excited to have you talk about your story, but also there's some things that you've seen that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, and it may be something that I've been struggling with, or maybe some of the people that are watching are struggling with. And so we originally were going to call it something like doing it the old way wasn't working. And we are going to change it and it is consistent clients, getting consistent clients with social media, which the old way might've been lots of different things. We tried print ads. We tried all kinds of different things to try networking events. When COVID happens, there's no networking events, right? You have to, all of our clients really struggled a lot with how do you keep the lights on. So Helen, can you give them first, as when you start talking, they will notice that you are not in Alabama with me. No. So where are you? And can you give us a little bit of your background? You're in design and how long you've been an entrepreneur, and then when you decided to start coaching?
Absolutely. So I'm from Chesterfield in the UK. So sorry about the accent.
No, we love the accent. This is great. So
sometimes, sorry.
Oh, it's good. So if we're familiar with England, where is Chesterfield in comparison to Edinburgh? Or I know Edinburgh's not in England, but or London, or like, is it on the East Coast, West Coast, near Leeds? What?
Yeah, so Edinburgh's at the top end, north. London is south, and we're right in the middle. So
okay,
yeah.
So that gives you in the middle between Scotland or where Edinburgh is, and then where London is. So that's great. Gives us a good idea.
Lovely. It's really lovely.
Have you been there your whole life, or have you moved there recently?
So I'm from Northamptonshire, which is nearer London, but I moved up more north when I went to university, and I've carried on traveling north. So that's how I met my other half. He always makes loads of jokes about being northern, because I'm very southern and I speak very differently to how he does. So he's always making jokes about that.
Well, I think you have a beautiful accent. So tell us how you found design, and then entrepreneurship, because they don't always come hand in hand, and then coaching.
Yeah. So I started off as a designer many years ago. I did a degree at Derby University. That's how I moved up the country. And that was in 2002. I left there. So it was a long time ago. I'm feeling really old this week because it's my birthday as well this week.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm feeling really old. I'm 43 now. Gosh.
I'm 48. So you look great. You could still kickbox people down the street. So you look fantastic.
Thank you. So I started a long time ago. When I left university, I had a few in-house jobs, first of all. Do you want me to tell you a bit about those, what I did, those kind of things?
Sure. Yeah. Because those things shape how we see clients, how we see in-house, they do, how we're designers, even how we think about business. What were those?
So the first one was a company that is like a car, like the head of a car dealership. So they dealt with lots of different types of car dealerships, like BMW, Mercedes, Vauxhall, all those kind of companies. They did all the advertising for them. So that was my first job. It wasn't super creative, but it was a start.
Yep.
Yeah, I did start learning quite a lot, because I think you learn a lot when you leave university, don't you? I think it's obviously you get the you get the basics when you're at university, and then you really start to learn all the things that you need to know about printing, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I learned a lot when I was in-house there, which was great. And then the next in-house job I had was a really lovely company, almost like a family kind of run company. And it was they were making plastic products for big companies like Toys R Us, like Mothercare. I don't know if you know these in America. Tesco, like they're really well-known brands. Yeah. So I worked for them, and we did all kinds of things. Like I did their brochures, I did their website, I did their packaging, I did the labels, I did everything for them. Photography, I did exhibitions, I did all sorts of stuff for them.
Wow, you did.
Yeah, but they were lovely because they didn't have an in-house designer. They used to outsource everything, and they decided they wanted somebody in-house. So when I came along, I was still fairly new to design, and I just wanted to experiment and try loads of things. So it was ideal for me. Yeah. So it was really ideal. And they were really great. They let me just play with everything. I even did 3D modeling there. And I obviously had to teach myself a lot because there weren't other designers there. But yeah, I was always out of my comfort zone, but I enjoyed it because it was just learning stuff and experimenting.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah. So being out of your comfort zone, was that something as a kid you always did, or was that something that you got more used to as an adult?
I think I always felt a bit out of my comfort zone. Growing up, I used to have really bad anxiety. And I think in a way that was a blessing in disguise, because I've always pushed myself out of my comfort zone naturally and just thought that was normal to feel uncomfortable. So I think it's weird, isn't it, how these things happen, but it's actually helped me a lot. Feel like that's normal. It's okay. And it helps you grow. So it's important.
It does. So how long were you at the plastic maker where you got to wear all these different hats and be all these different kinds of designers, right?
Yeah. So I was there for probably about a year and a half, something like that. And then I just decided that I wanted to go and work with other designers because I was doing all this on my own. I had my own office and everything, which was great. But I was on my own all the time, and it was just, I felt a bit lonely, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the only creative person in the whole business, in the whole building. It was interesting because I learned a lot of other things that I probably wouldn't have seen, about running a business and all the things I have to deal with. And obviously there's the factory side and all that kind of stuff. So you really got to learn about everything, which was great. But yeah, I wanted to learn from other designers. That's why I went to university, because I wanted to learn and I wanted to grow. And I felt like there was still a lot I didn't know. So I wanted to join some kind of team, like an agency. That was what I thought was going to be my dream. And so I went hunting for jobs again and found a couple of agencies. The first one I went to was a small agency in Derby. And I thought I was going to join a big team, but actually when I got there was only one lady there. So I was a little bit disappointed. I found out the company wasn't doing so well. So they'd ended up obviously employing me because I was cheaper, because I'd not had as much experience, to try and save the business. So I was like, oh my goodness, no pressure or anything. Yeah. So it was hard work, and we worked really long hours. Myself and this other lady, a Polish lady, she was really lovely, and she taught me a lot, which was great. Really learned a lot from her, and really enjoyed it, apart from obviously having to work really long hours. I wasn't expecting that. I remember a few times when they were like they were trying to pitch for certain things and come up with ideas, and we were there till ridiculous hours in the morning, and I just couldn't believe what I was doing. I thought, gosh, this is crazy. So yeah, I soon realized that it wasn't really my dream job. And yeah, I worked for a few other agencies freelance after that, just trying out different ways of working, because I I was just kind of wondering what my dream job was after that. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, because what I thought was my dream wasn't my dream in reality. So, yeah.
Sometimes it takes people a long time to realize that this wasn't. So this is really, you have a lot of courage. You also are able to see something and make that assessment pretty early to say, hey, I've done a lot in the toy company or the plastics company. And then you are like, okay, I'm going to take this, but I know I need community, or, you wanted to learn from other people, to be part of a team. And then you go in, you're like, oh, I should have asked more questions, right? Like even in the interview, right? When you get, you're like, oh, okay. But you had your super positive attitude. You learned as much as you could from that lady. And then you were like, maybe this working super late nights at an agency, because a lot of times the agency might do that, right? This isn't uncommon.
I realized that obviously afterwards I realized it, but it wasn't what I expected at all. So I think that's definitely something that's helped me a lot, is just realizing that things aren't right and trying to make it, trying to fix things quickly. I think that's how you can progress really quickly. Otherwise you do end up just putting up with things you're not happy with. And I think it's important to realize that you can do what you want in life. So you've got to realize when things aren't right, and you've got to find something that is working so that you can start moving forwards.
Did you do anything in particular to like, is this just in your habit, do you reflect every Wednesday or something, or like, well, how were you able? Because I think that this is actually something I don't hear a lot of people saying, that they're able to, like, they realize that they were, and they actually took action on it. Like a lot of people are like, I'm sure it'll get better. I'm sure it'll get better. Right. They either aren't listening to their gut, so they don't have a really good relationship with their intuition.
Oh yeah.
Is that always been like a superpower for you?
I think I started to realize when I started to work on myself a bit more, because obviously when you grow up with having anxiety and you've got it all the time, you have to have ways of coping with it. And I had to start working on myself, and I started trying to learn ways of dealing with that. And I think that's helped me a lot. I think I've been sort of asking myself a lot of questions and talking to myself in the right way. And I know that might sound crazy to some people.
No,
but all of that has helped me massively.
But that's just not something that, unless it's modeled to you, I guess maybe you were reading, or maybe you had a good mentor or a parent that was modeling that. Like, well, why do you think you're feeling this way, Helen? Right? Like
I didn't really have anyone mentoring me or helping me through that. I think I got to a stage where I just thought, I have to do something about this, because it was such a big problem. It was really stopping me talking to people and holding me back. So one big thing I did do, I'm trying to think what year it was, but one huge thing I did do was decide to travel to London on my own. And I don't tell this story very often, actually. I decided to travel to London on my own. I didn't tell anyone I was going, so that I could learn about mindset and different therapies and stuff like that, because I felt like that was the only answer. I just didn't know how to make myself feel better. So that's what I did. And a lot of that has helped me massively.
How old were you when you did that?
So I'm trying to think when I was still living in a student house. So it wasn't long after university. Yeah.
That's, again, insightful for somebody so young to make that. That's big.
Yeah, it was massive at the time, because if you think, when you've got really bad anxiety and you don't want to go anywhere or talk to anybody, and I travelled all the way to London on my own. So that was a big deal, but I just felt like that was the answer. I just knew it was the answer, so I had to do it. So I think having those issues has just given me massive courage. It's just given me, it's just given me huge courage and just determination.
Yeah. So how long was it? Just like a weekend? Was it a week in London, or did you live in London?
I went twice, actually. I went once for a weekend just to try it, like a taster, where I met the actual lady that was doing the courses at London City University. So I went for a weekend just to try it out. And then I actually met a girl down there. Then this sounds crazy too when I think about it. I met a girl down there on the course who actually invited me to stay with her for a week so that I could go back. And she was so amazing. Elaine, her name is. And she was a superstar. And I think she recognized how much I needed to be there. So, she was amazing and let me stay with her for a whole week. And the best thing about it was they lived on Abbey Road. I don't know if you've heard of Abbey Road.
Yeah. Didn't the Beatles sing a song about Abbey Road? Yeah, we have the Beatles down in Alabama too. So yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. So I lived on the most famous street in London for a whole week with this lady, and it was so great. And we learnt together, and she was on the course. She wanted to be a therapist, and we learnt together for that week and practiced on each other and stuff. And it was amazing. Yeah. Had an amazing
time. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So in all this, you're freelancing, I'm just getting back in the timeline. So then you start freelancing. How long were you freelancing and just doing your own thing? Or did you ever go work for someone else again?
So I was freelancing for a few agencies, trying to think. It wasn't loads. I had like a few contacts that kept giving me work for a little while, and I also started to look into teaching as well, because I thought I wanted to find a way of becoming really confident in front of people, and also enjoyed helping people just naturally. And I thought, teaching will be great. So I actually I started my business solo for a few years before I went into teaching. So I'm just trying to get in the right order. So I started my own business, decided that if I was perceived as an agency, I could charge a lot more. So that's what I did. And then after about 4 years, I did that on my own, but I met my partner, so we did it together as well. And then I did teaching part-time for many years as well after that. So lots of exciting times.
That's awesome. I know one of the things that you were teaching. Do you want to tell them what you were? One of the
things I've been teaching. Yeah. So I did teach design at colleges and adult education centres and schools, but I also it was actually when I met my partner, we both did kickboxing before we met, and it was just something that really helped me. I think it helped me physically and mentally. And he wanted to become a kickboxing instructor, so he did it first. And then obviously when we met, I was like, this is amazing. And I kept on training really hard till I got to my black belt. And then I was able to do a course so that I could teach as well. So I started to teach kickboxing, which I know most people look at me and think, what, you taught kickboxing? I was like, yeah. And we did it. We've done it for years. My partner, he worked out the other day, it's been 16 years that he's been teaching kickboxing. So it's been a long time.
But kickboxing really was another thing that when we've had conversations in the past, you were like, it was really important for me to be able to teach, but it was really big confidence builder for you, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's amazing. It just, I think it felt like I just turned a switch and I was like somebody else. It was just amazing. Yeah. It felt like, when you're teaching a whole massive room full of people, and you've got to be able to shout, you've got to be able to, be assertive. And it was like being somebody else for a little while. It was great.
So that's really different than being in a classroom and teaching people about design. Because I'm not really shouting all that often. So this is much different. And but I see this as such a big hurdle. Like if I can do this, I can do anything, right? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Amazing. And it's amazing how it gives you that confidence when, initially it was my partner just teaching and I would just assist, help when new people came along and stuff like that. And you would get like these big guys walking in, like thinking they knew everything. And I would show them something and they'd be like, how did you do that? And it's just, it gives you that confidence. It's like, wow, you don't need to be big and strong. You can still, kick somebody halfway across the room. It was just amazing, to have that confidence and that realization that, it's just technique. You can learn this stuff. It's just, yeah.
Well, and that's so much about business too, right? And what we're going to talk about today, sometimes it's just having the right strategy. You need to know where to kick somebody that's this much bigger than me. I still can, you can still make an impact in whatever you're trying to do. It doesn't matter about whatever, right? Like years of experience, but if you know the technique or if you know the strategy, you'll be able to. I love that, because then it is this surprise. And I always think the best design is the one that's the unexpected. And that's why, what a great, but how interesting that yelling and leading people and, that really helped you to really form that. I'm not going back into that. I mean, maybe it's always there, but that is not who people would say you are now. Right. The people that they would never be like, they would be like, what? Right. Not that, because they see you as that strong leader. Right.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And it is, when I look back at all those years ago, it does feel like I'm a totally different person now. It does. It's amazing, really. Yeah. So you can, if anybody's worried, thinking they can't be confident enough to be the face of their business, you can do it. I promise you. If I can do it, you can do it.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Okay. So then take us to, so you're running your business, you and your partner are doing, you're teaching design and teaching kickboxing. He's teaching kickboxing. You're running your business. And then when do you start getting that nudge to obviously teaching and coaching are very similar. Like you're guiding people, it's people related. When do you get that urge to hey, I think this is more of where what I'm supposed to be doing?
So, do you mean like the online stuff? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. And coaching that you're doing with helping other people, other business owners, other designers that are freelancing.
Yeah. So, I obviously was doing a lot then. As you just explained, I was doing so much and I was really burning myself out. And I wanted to slow down a little bit, but didn't know how. And I also wanted, I started to realize that, technology is moving forwards. There are other ways of, earning money without being tied to a club and tied to all sorts of things. Like we didn't go on holiday for years because we had so many commitments. And we were really tiring ourselves out, even though we were enjoying it. We're having a lot of fun. But we just, we were both realised that there needs to be other ways of making an income and also being able to help people in other ways as well. So I started to look into online, learning about the online world, doing all kinds of courses, loads and loads of different coaches and programs. I did all kinds of things. Just to try and understand what there was out there, what other options I had, basically, so that I could maybe adjust what I was doing to a more comfortable situation. I actually, the first time I had an online business was when I was thinking of taking the kickboxing stuff online. That was my first idea, and helping people with their mental health, because obviously I'd been through all that myself. And I thought, I can create some kind of program where I integrate fitness and mindset. And I did come up with an amazing program, and it did work really, really well. And I'm still thinking of maybe having that as an automated thing in the background, because it was so popular. and I did really well with it, but I can't do everything. So it's like, yeah, deciding what you want to do. And yeah, that was my first online business. I met a coach in Seattle online, a really lovely fitness guy who taught me some basic stuff about making money online with my fitness ideas. And it just kind of, the different ways of working grew from there. So I tried all sorts of things. I tried like membership sites, I tried workshops, I tried doing I did live kickboxing fitness in my group where people just came on and joined in. I did all sorts of stuff, loads of crazy stuff.
Like what year was this? Like what year were you trying? I mean, it does not, as you've told me about the plastics company, this is not at all shocking that you were willing to try all these things because you're like, okay, you need an exhibit? No problem. I'll figure it out. Oh, you need packaging? No problem. I'll figure it out. Like that was, so this was like just normal for you. You didn't let it overwhelm you, right? But it can be super overwhelming to just try to juggle all those things.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I just find I always try and convince my mind that it's more exciting than overwhelming. So that's how I dealt with it. Yeah, because it's if you ever read about anxiety, most people that give advice, like Mel Robbins and other people like that, they always say, you know, if you think about the feeling that you get, it's actually the same as excitement. So if you can convince yourself you're actually excited, then you can feel so much better about it. And that's what I did. So yeah, I think.
What year?
So I think it was around 2018. Yeah, it was around 2018, I think, was I was doing the fitness stuff. So yeah, and I was doing really well. Like I was doing challenges. They're all I would promote myself. Like he taught me how to do a launch and everything, where I'd do like these crazy videos, like on the run up to the challenge and all that kind of stuff. And I'd had all these people in a group, and I would, you know, be like, day one, we're doing this, day two, we're doing this, and all that kind of stuff. And they would have to pay to join the group and everything. And it was great. And I was making money straight away, which I was really excited about. I thought it was going to take a lot longer. And then that was like the first thing. And then he suggested that I made, you know, a one-to-one program as well. So I had a one-to-one program where I was coaching people over Zoom, a bit like I do now, but obviously to do with mental health and fitness. And I helped loads of people. I helped a lady that was had to lose weight because she needed to have a hip operation. I helped a lady that was really, really depressed and was on loads of medication and stuff like that. And she lost a stone and decided to start coming off her medication. She did really, really well. I helped so many people. Another lady that was really traumatized by things in her past, so I helped her as well.
So one of the things on your website, you were like, I will be there 1000%. And you can tell these are not people that you can just be like, okay, I'll see you in 2 weeks. You know, like these are people who you're invested in, and they need you, and you're going to be there, and you're going to help them get through. But this is just who you are, right? This is no matter whether you're doing mindset and health and fitness, or whether you're doing business coaching and creative coaching, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think most people need that support. You know, everyone's human. We all have the same fears and worries and doubts, and like you said, it can all be overwhelming. It can be scary, doing things you've never done before. I know how that feels. So yeah, and I love being that person that people reach out to and get help from and ask questions. And yeah, I just love that kind of relationship with people. You can really get to know people really, really well. So
when did you switch from doing more fitness, or do you still incorporate that into what you are doing now?
So I don't teach them kickboxing, but I do encourage them to have a good routine. So I switched. So I've probably been more focused on design specifically, helping designers specifically. And the only reason I really switched was because I was listening to what people were telling me. It's so important to recognize when people keep telling you something, you must listen to what people tell you. So I was hearing a lot from people that I've helped in the past tell me, I really want to know how you're getting your clients. I really want to know how you're actually doing this. And I really, a lot of the people I was helping were really stressed and didn't want to have their jobs they had, all that kind of stuff. So they were in situations they weren't enjoying in life, and they wanted to have a better life. They wanted to have their own thing online. So that's how it started. And so many people were saying to me, how are you getting your clients? Like, I want to know how you do this. And that I was, it happened so many times. So many people asked me, I just thought, well, maybe that's what I'm meant to be doing. I need to be helping people more on the business side, even though I love helping people on the health side too. So yeah, a lot of the clients that I help now, obviously it's all to do with building their design business, helping agencies, get clients, all that kind of stuff. But it is also, I do definitely mention about the routine, the daily routine, all that kind of stuff, because it is so key. It is so key. You can't build a really successful business without looking after yourself as well, and without looking after your mindset, without, taking a break at lunchtime, go for a walk, all that kind of stuff. It might sound silly to some people, but it's so essential, because otherwise you can work yourself into the ground, which is what I did originally. So yeah, I'm very aware of that and try and pass on any good practices to people.
I love that. Okay. So you are going to teach us something, and this seems like a great segue when your people are kept asking you over and over, how are you doing this? How are you doing this? Right. And so this was it wasn't the old way anymore. You had to find people. And so it's finding clients consistently, but you did it through social media.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was something that I've put together over all the coaching I've had, all the training I've had. I still felt that like there were bits missing. It took me a lot of coaches to get to where I am now, and it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't, like, you should get help from somebody and be able to get clients. It really is as simple as that. You should be able to do that, but it took me so much investment to get to that stage. So literally the things that I teach is like, I've taken a bit of everything, and I've also added other bits that I know is what was missing, because I've finally got there myself. So yeah, finally got it all together. So do you want me to teach people what I've got today? It's a quick training.
Absolutely. Yeah, please.
Creative business brain.
And if anybody has a question, they can pop it in the chat and I will interrupt and ask, right? Where you're okay okay, awesome.
Today, I thought it would be good to talk about how to be unique in the marketplace, because it is the first thing that I talk about when I'm helping people. I think it's so important. And to get consistent clients, you must move yourself away from being generic in any way. And that might sound really bizarre and impossible. Even some people think it's impossible, but I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay. So most designers and agencies position themselves as a service, or like giving a certain type of service, or maybe a big range of services, and try and do everything for everyone. Okay, so that's traditionally the way it works. But today I want to teach you how to position yourself as something really unique. And the way that you do that, I call it the unique selling proposition. I don't know if you've heard of anything like that before. Some people call it other things, but it really is the way that you explain what you do, okay, to people. And it's got to be on all your profiles. It's got to be super clear on everything you put out into the world, who you're helping, what you're doing for them, and what it's going to do for the business. So, and that has got to be what that person or that business really wants. So it's like their big desire, okay. So this is going to obviously be on everything. It's got to be right in everybody's faces as soon as they look on your profiles, so that they can see straight away that you've got the answer to their problem. It's got to be like instant recognition, like, oh my goodness, I need to talk to Diane. She does exactly what I need. That's what I really want. Okay, that's kind of the response you want. So this will evolve over time. So I know it seems bizarre telling designers not to get it right first time, because I know designers are perfectionists, and I've obviously learned that myself. Yeah, it's important to have a go at this and not feel that it's got to be perfect, because it will evolve. It's the kind of thing where you learn as you go, because you're going to learn more and more about your ideal client as you go. So it will become a lot easier, and you've got to listen to what people are telling you. Okay. And that's how you're going to perfect it. And then when it's just right, you'll know it's just right, because people will start reaching out to you. And that's really, really exciting. So today, if you haven't got a niche, so if you don't know who your ideal client is yet, you just need to pick maybe your favorite client, or just pick somebody that you've loved working with in the past, just for this exercise, so you can have a go. Okay. So let's brainstorm some words. So I want you to have a think about who they are, what industry it is, what kind of business it is, and start writing down ideas of how you would describe it. What would those people call themselves? There's lots of different ways of looking at it, but just write all your ideas out first. Okay, we need some words to use to form the sentence. So some people that I've helped have been working with sports clothing companies, food tech companies, business coaches, mortgage lenders. It's got to be what those people would call themselves. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, totally.
Yeah. And then the second thing we really need to pinpoint is what you do, but it's not from your perspective. This is the thing that most people get wrong. So it's not from your perspective. So you might think, okay, I do branding, or I do packaging, but what would your ideal client call that? Okay. So you've really got to flip it on its head. Yeah. So you've got to see it from there.
We don't always use the same language. We know more. We are insider language, and they're calling it a logo, or they're calling it, I need to make my business look, I need a sign for out front or something, right?
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. And you want to, they want to see what they're thinking in their head, basically. So you've got to get in their head, work out what they're thinking, and that's what you lead with. Okay. So you need to obviously brainstorm what you feel you do and how they would perceive that and what they would call that as well. Okay. And then the result that they want, that could be all kinds of things, but the more specific you are, the better. So the more you talk to these people, you'll really understand what they're focused on the most, what they really want to achieve. It could be, some of my clients have helped people get their products in shops, done the branding for products and then helped them get it in shops. Some of my clients have helped people get more traffic through the website and design the website and everything as well. But the traffic is the thing they've been focusing on, so you've got to think of it from the client's perspective and what they really want more than anything else. Okay. So is that okay? Do you want me to move on?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's great.
I don't know how long you want to write ideas down. Okay, so here are some basic framework ideas. Now, you can use other words, but these are just 3 ideas, okay? There are lots of ways of doing this. As long as you've got those 3 sections in there and you make it as simple as possible, so you don't want to write too much. You want a very simple sentence, but here are a few ideas. So you could say who they are. So it could be like that food tech company, whatever it was, hires me to do whatever it is. So hires me to, I don't know, generate more traffic with their website, whatever it is, so they can, I don't know, whatever they dream of doing, so they can start working with bigger clients or whatever they really want to do. Okay.
Are all these like who they are? It's how they call themselves. What you do is what they say you do. Make the sign, right? It's not what we say. No. Is that what you're saying? Okay, great. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you. Okay. Keep going.
Great. And then obviously what they really want, what they tell you want more than anything else. And most people won't tell you directly what they want more than anything else. And you may have to ask them several times before they'll really tell you. Okay, so number 2, here's another one. So some people teach things more than do things. So if it's a done for you service or whether it's you're actually teaching them something sometimes. So teaching whoever they are, the type of industry, the type of business, to do something, whatever they're trying to achieve, using something. So it could be like using a type of software, using a website, using, I don't know, whatever your unique thing is that you do. Okay. And then number 3 is another one, helping a certain type of client to do whatever it is you do so they can get whatever they want.
Okay. Love that. What with the word helping, I always write that, and then I always second guess myself.
Yeah.
Is that normal? Like, I don't know, maybe like I wonder, I'm like, did they expect me to, like, I think that I'm helping, but maybe that's not, I don't know. I always have wondered, and I always second guess that word. So it makes me feel a lot better that you have used it. And this is not in a parentheses, but have you ever thought about the word helping?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it just depends what you're doing for them, but that's why I've tried to choose different ones here. But you can use other words. These are just ideas, but I think sometimes you are helping them achieve something. You might not want to promise that you're going to actually get them a certain result, but you're helping them achieve something to get towards that result. Do you know what I mean? So you might not want to promise that you're actually going to do something like, I'm going to get you whatever, I don't know, I'm going to double your revenue. You don't want to say that sometimes.
Right. But even like a doctor, like if they do a hip replacement, they are, helping you to, and they're going to give you, a litany of things that you're supposed to do after this, but it is you have to take that action to continue to make that hip work. You got a new hip, right? But I do think it's like helping you to live the life that you want to live with this new, but you have to do that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got us off track on the word helping.
No,
keep going.
Fine. I think you're right there. I think that helps if it's something where you're both having to do something together. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so the biggest mistake people make with this is they make it way too vague. So a lot of people that struggle with this are people that struggle to narrow down their niche, and they struggle to be very specific about who they're helping. And then if they can't do that, they're struggling to really do the research and understand that person enough to know what they really want. So if you're too vague and you're trying to help more, a wider audience still, and you're still trying to do everything for everyone, it's not going to work. You're just going to blend in with everybody else. And people aren't really going to feel like you're talking to them. It's got to be so specific. People feel like, yeah, she's talking to me. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes. And it's also scary because you think it'll be like 3 people will sign up. But you have done it, right? Like that's the worry, that if I'm this specific, it's all people with blue hair and have 3 ears, but those people with blue hair and 3 ears are like, oh my gosh, this is for me. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's brilliant. I love that. Yeah, you're right. So your ideal client obviously needs that instant recognition. It's got to be seen. You've got to be focusing on their problem more than anything else. That's another thing people do wrong. So a lot of the time they're so focused on what they want to do. Like, I just want to do packaging. I just want to do that. And they're so focused on that they're not thinking enough about the problems of their ideal client. And that's also somewhere where they go wrong. Okay. So a useful tip, a tool that really helps to think of other words, because I've never been great at words, although now I'm actually a really good copywriter, but over the years, it's taken me a long time to get to that stage. Visualthesaurus.com I found was brilliant because I'm really obsessed with these. These like spider diagram things. So you type in a word and it comes up with all these other words. So if you're struggling to explain something or think of another way of saying something, it really helps you just to think of other words that could maybe help you describe it in a different way.
That's really cool. That's an awesome resource.
Yeah, I love it. And I used to have it, you'll laugh now, because I used to have it on what do you call it? Like a CD-ROM or something, like an old-fashioned. I used to have it on that. And then I said to my other half the other day, oh, have we still got that? And then he goes, oh, no, it's all online now. I'm thinking, how old am I? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so he told me it was on that website. So here's a few examples, a few people that I've been working with as well, but just give you a few examples. Obviously, Frederico is amazing. I love him to bits. He lives in Portugal, and I've promised I'm going to go see him next year. I actually want to go and live in Portugal. That's my dream. So it was amazing when I met this guy.
Andre here, Andre Catiano, he's here and he lives in Portugal too. Okay, he's an illustrator. He's amazing. Okay, keep going. So Federico says helping food and nutrition professionals increase their website traffic and attract more clients. That's very specific. That's really good.
Yeah, I love that one. And, these people have literally written out loads and loads of ideas and come back to me, right, which one do you think? And I said, okay, let's test them. So we've picked out the one we thought was the best, and then we've tested it. So that's the kind of the thought process. This guy, we did have a bit of a his is a little bit broader than I wanted it, because he was like, I'm also helping these people, but he's still doing really well with it. So he helps health, wellness, and outdoors. I mean, they do go together. Health, wellness, and outdoors. Entrepreneurs transform their products into leading brands. So he's doing really well with that. James, he is helping business coaches build amazing website experiences that generate leads and save time. And then this is a lady called Remy, who's absolutely amazing. She's only in her 20s. She lives near London, and she's already got a little social media team, as well as doing the branding as well for her beauty and wellness professionals. So we help beauty and wellness professionals to become fully booked using social media. So yeah,
that's great.
They've all done really well. So write as many sentences out as you can. And I'll look forward to seeing your ideas, and feel free to send me a few. If you want to just pick out the best ones and you want to send them to me for some feedback, I don't mind doing that. So that's my email if you want to do that. Okay.
Testing takes a while sometimes, right? It's not like, oh, just put it up and then we'll see by the end of the week. Or what does the testing, how long would you tell someone to test that out to see if it's successful?
Yeah, so obviously, just getting up the best one that you can, after you've written loads of ideas, you put up the best one you feel is right. But I think once you start doing the other things that you need to do to grow your business, such as your content and having the right conversations with people, growing your audience, once you start doing all of that, you can soon start to tell if it's working or not, because you know when you've got it spot on, because people reach out to you. That's how you know you've got it right. So yeah. You'll get people in your DMs basically when you get it right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. So it's not just having that as your bio. It's also the content that goes with it. And these are things that you help people with, because often it's so hard to do our own stuff. So you become that mirror back to them, but you're also like, hey, this one sounds like a good one to start with. Let's start with this one and see. And you're helping them. You're giving accountability, right? That's you're there 1000%. It is not. It is on your website 1000, right? In Facebook, it's 1000%, which I love that. And just hearing how you are all in. And I know, like we've talked, and you'll do. I think one time we were talking. I think you had said you did 10 meetings in a day, 7 meetings in a day. And I'm worried about burnout for you, but again, you had to pivot, right? There are lots of things in the pandemic. I know we only have like 10 minutes left, but I have some questions, so I want to make sure. So the thing that you noticed over and over was just you were listening and you were hearing people say they didn't know how. They were like, "Hey, how are you getting these clients? How are you?" Right? And this was these were from all different people, which is exactly what a lot of designers were trying to. We have different niches. It's not like or different focus areas or different industries that we're working with. I do think we worry. Fabio was like, I'm worried that no one will like me. And Fabio is so likable. Nobody could not like you. But if they don't like you, holy moly, like you don't want to be friends with them is what I would, or you don't want them as a client, right?
Yeah, you don't want everyone to love you. And that might sound really strange, but you only want your ideal client to love you, basically. So if people don't love you, that's okay. They're just not a good fit for you and your business. So that's fine. You've got to have a way of sorting through what's a good fit for you and what's not a good fit for your business. So yeah, it's not about a popularity contest. It's not it's not about being like friends with everyone. It's just knowing who you want to help. It's knowing how you can help people in the best way, and knowing who is a good fit and who isn't a good fit. Once you're really clear about that, then life gets so much easier.
Okay, so then with the pandemic, how was this one of the biggest things that you were able to just help people bounce back, your clients, like taking them through this process and getting them, or like showing them this, or was it just the mindset of niching and all the stuff that goes down with that? Or was there any, I think my question was, how did the pandemic affect you, and how were you able to help your clients bounce back?
Yeah, so the pandemic, it didn't like for my business, it was okay because obviously it was just so lucky how so previously I'd invested so much in myself that I was ready, even though I didn't know it was coming. I was ready, which was so lucky because my partner's business obviously didn't do well at all. So yeah, that was really stressful trying to help him through that. But luckily my business was doing really well. And I was just, I was using the pandemic in a way of trying not to focus on myself and all the rubbish we were going through with his business. And I was trying to focus myself on helping other people. So, I always feel like, if you're going through a hard time, try and focus on who you can help. And then that's going to help you as well. So, I feel like some people are too focused in their own world when things aren't going right. And that's another thing to learn, if things aren't going right in your world, just look up the opportunities out there, the gaps in the market, the ways you can really help other people. Focus on that, and that will really help you as well as help those people.
So we have an anonymous attendee asked a question, and this is just a fun question, I think. So being a former kickboxer instructor, what is your favorite kick? Roundhouse, crescent kick, front kick, etc.?
Oh, a spinning crescent or jump spinning crescent. Or a 360.
Oh wow! Hey, that's a good one. I should have waited till the end, but I had to ask. So you did talk a lot about the mindset, and that you were working on that early, even in your 20s, to just get that. I think it's just amazing that you noticed that you needed work on that, and that you also noticed that you could help yourself by doing some other things. And I know kickboxing really affected you as well. One thing we talked about was one of the things you do on a call in the beginning is asking people about their routines, and because a lot of times our health routines, how much we're drinking water, or how much we're eating, or how much we're exercising, or how much we're stepping away from whatever it is we're doing, or how we're managing the anxiety or the stress of something. How, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily bring that in. How important have you seen that? I think, especially from your background, you can see this, but how important is that aspect?
Oh, it's hugely important. And I think the first thing that you have to do is make sure that you are in a really good habits with your business and with yourself. So obviously there's certain habits that you do for your business on a daily basis to make sure that you are ticking those I call them lead indicators. So you tick those boxes where your lead indicators are the things that show that you're doing the work, so the results are going to come. So it's like, okay, I've done my job now, I know that it's fine, I'm going to get clients this month. So if you've got to have habits for your business and habits for yourself. So scheduling in time for that's like non-negotiable time.
Like what would it be for you? Like what's part of your schedule that are the non-negotiables that could be just for Helen, right?
Okay, so things like in the morning, I've got like a whole mindset routine in the morning. to do with like gratitude. I've got my vision map. I know you wanted me to talk about that as well. Sorry, my vision map that I read out every day. It's like my vision of the future and the things that I'm already achieving now, which is great. It's got an image of something that means a lot to me in the future, and also affirmations on it. So I do all the like law of attraction stuff. So that's like something that's helped me hugely. Obviously, like breaks in the day, stuff like that, walks with the dog. That's all non-negotiable. So yeah, you've got to make sure you're not putting too much pressure on yourself, because I think that's something I noticed that, you know, I wouldn't even realize in the past, you know, years ago, I wouldn't even realize how tense I was and how stressed I was until it was way too late, you know, and being more aware of how you're feeling throughout the day. So whether you need like a break every 45 minutes to stretch your legs or whatever it is, I just go and play with the dog now. So that's good. You know, you've got to have something where you're just noticing that, you know, I'm okay, I'm feeling good, all of that stuff, just being aware throughout the day, and you're not putting too much pressure on yourself. Yes, I do a lot of Zoom calls now, but in between I'm still having a rest. I go off and do stuff like play ball in the garden with the dog and do stuff like that just to have a little rest. So that's really important. Obviously, like exercising regularly throughout the week, and making sure that, you know, when you go to bed, you're feeling good and you're programming your mind again when you go to bed. So that's something I learned a lot from those therapy things that I did in the past. If you go to bed feeling bad, your mind is going to carry on making you feel bad all like throughout your whole sleep. And then you wake up feeling even worse the next day. So yeah, you've got to make yourself feel good when you go to bed, listening to the right things, reprogramming yourself, whatever you need to hear. So if you know that you're doubting yourself, or if you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, or you're worried what people are thinking, you've got to tell yourself the opposite things. You've got to find some kind of meditation or a hypnotherapy track on YouTube, something that's going to actually put it back to rights, you know, something that's going to flip it on its head. So in the morning you feel amazing, you know, you feel like ready to start the day.
That's great. That's a great, I love that. So creating a vision map, this will be the last question. Vision map is different than a vision board. And I know you showed, I'm pretty sure you showed me, but you kind of, so there's like a house, or maybe if it's a cabin that I'm wanting, or it's a vacation that I want to go to, it's a picture of that and that feel. And then, but the map was a little different than just a whole bunch of images. Can you just describe a little bit more? Because there were affirmations on that, right? It's a little different.
Yeah, so it's literally maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs about your future life, and you've got to say it as if you're already achieving it. So my name is Helen Knight, and I am, you know, you say it in that way. So I am a successful business coach. You know, I help creative entrepreneurs to achieve whatever, and it's just like saying it. And I live in Portugal and I do this and do that. And it's like, so you're saying it as if it's like your ideal life. So it's only like 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then an image that represents that. So whatever that could be for you, it could be like an amazing house that you never dreamed you could afford. It could be, I don't know, something that's way off in the future that you know that if you keep telling yourself this vision, you know you're going to achieve it, because that's how your mind works. Your mind is drawn towards what you tell it the most. And then underneath, I've got several affirmations that help me every day, just to give me that certainty that I am achieving it. And I know I'm achieving it because I've ticked off a few things off my list already, which is fantastic. So giving yourself certainty every day, having that feeling of knowing that you know you're working hard for a reason, and this is all become true. You know, it's all happening, which is great.
I love that. Okay, so I want people to be able to reach out to you. And one, you've given them your email. All these things will be below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're on my website, they're all below. If you're listening to this, wherever your podcast is, it is at the top. So creativebusinessbrain.co.uk is your website. And then on LinkedIn, creative Helen-Knight, like KNIGHT, hyphen creative business brain. And then also Facebook, there's YouTube and podcasts. So for your YouTube and your podcast, how often are you publishing things?
So YouTube and podcast have been on pause because I've literally been so busy. You won't believe how busy I've been this year. So it's been on pause for probably about 6 months, but I will get back into it, I promise. It's something that I actually decided to pause the YouTube because I was learning a lot more about YouTube and I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. Although I've still get people messaging me that have seen my YouTube channel, which is great. So even though I've not touched it for 6 months,
yeah,
people are still messaging me from it, which is great. So no, I met a coach that was specialized in YouTube, and so I was learning more about YouTube. So I thought I'm going to pause it and then start doing it a lot better when I get back to it. So there will be a lot more going up there. I've got a huge amount of testimonials to edit and put up on there as well. So lots of exciting stuff to put up. And so keep having a look. I promise I'll keep updating it. Subscribe and you'll get updated.
Well, I just thank you so much for coming. So what's next? What's something that we need to be? So on creativebusinessbrain.co.uk, there's a place for us to sign up to get on your mailing list. Is there something that you're working on? I know you're super busy, but is there something that you're working on that we need to be like, I need to dog ear this in my calendar?
I'm not working on anything new apart from obviously I'm working one-to-one with a lot of people right now, and I'm going to grow that. So I may start doing more group stuff. I'm not sure yet, to be honest. I'm really packing out my calendar at the minute, so I can only do so much. I think I'm going to have to get some more team. I'm going to have to expand my team so that I can help more people. I think that's the next step, really, so that I can expand and really start to just start to grow it even more. Luckily I've got an amazing business coach helping me, so that's good. Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's a really good insight for people who are looking for a coach, if they have a coach, right? That's and you've had lots, and you've worked on lots of things. Helen, thank you so much for giving so much insight today. And I hope that you guys have had a good time. And Dee's here. It's her birthday. She's been on the show before, and she's a really good friend. So happy birthday, Dee. And you also share a birthday week with Helen, because Helen's birthday is this week too. So happy birthday, Helen. And happy birthday, Dee. And I just thank you for spending this time with me and with us, and sharing your knowledge and your insight, and making it seem like it is doable. It takes time. And I hope that you guys will reach out and get in touch with Helen, and because she really is, she's in it 1000%. I love that. But that's something that I picked up on, right? It is definitely in your brand, and I love that. So.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
It has. We have two more. I totally didn't look quickly. Do you have time to answer two more anonymous attendee questions really fast?
Go for it.
What was there obstacles or difficulty working with clients outside of the UK? Where was there a concern with having positive results with your clients, or is it quite similar to working with anybody inside the UK or outside?
I've worked with people all over the place. Even I've got a guy from Belgium at the minute as well. Lots of people in America, Portugal. So yeah, I've worked with people all over the place, and it doesn't feel. Although there were, the only thing I would say, with the Portuguese guy, he said that he thought there were a few kind of like cultural differences in the way that you do your sales. That was the only thing that he mentioned. But he still took it all on board and actually said that he found it made a massive difference. The way that I do it, it was just so new to him, the way that I did it, that he thought it was like a cultural thing, because he was worried about, talking about money and stuff like that. And actually he just went for it. He was really brave and went for it. And he said actually he got much better results. He's working with like the biggest projects he's ever done before, so he's really excited. So that was the only difference. I think I think it feels like the same. Obviously there's going to be language differences sometimes, like the guy from Belgium, I have to talk a little bit slower sometimes for him to understand me, but no, I think don't think it matters at all where you are in the world.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so the last question, this is a two-parter. Any tips on getting over imposter syndrome, and does constantly looking at the vision board help?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That with listening to the right things every morning and every night as well. So you've really got to reprogram your mind, your subconscious. And the best time to tap into that is just before you go to sleep and when you first wake up in the morning. So yeah, because your brainwave state is different when you first wake up. So you need to be in the right brainwave state, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really good. So for how long, how many minutes is it? The first 15, 20, 30 hour? Do you know? When you're just literally waking up and you still feel like half asleep and half awake, if you can just put something on then and listen to it straight away, that's the best time to listen to it. And also as you're drifting off to sleep, unless you're an expert in hypnotherapy or anything like that and you know how to put yourself into the right state. Yeah. That's good. Those are great. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of extra time to answer those questions. I really appreciate you, Helen, and I love your energy and your positivity and just how you've made it through so many things. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. And if anybody wants to ask me any questions anytime, just email me. That's fine. I don't mind. Or talk to me on Facebook or Instagram or wherever.
Okay, awesome. All right. Well, I will see you guys next week. It'll be normal time next week. And I can't wait to see you then. Helen, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks then. Take care.